Hello.
My name's John Eddington. This is my third video of my invention, which I've called Opposing Torque Dynamic Clutch. The first video I did was in November 2019 and is under the same title, which is Opposing Torque Dynamic Clutch, and the patent number is 2020-201132. So the second video titled Infinite Variable Transmission Gearbox for a Bicycle. Today's date is Sunday the 20th of March 2022. A month and a half ago it was Valentine's Day, which was a day where lovers show affection for each other and exchange gifts. But also in Australia it has another significance, because in 1966, on the 14th of February, Australia changed from pounds, shillings and pence to dollars and cents. So that was on the 14th of February 1966. In a month or so, month and a half, it'll be the Easter Sunday, which will be on the 17th of April 2022 this year, and it's the most significant day of a Christian, because the death and resurrection is the most important part of a Christian. Without that, there would be no eternal life. There's having a home in heaven, being heirs of the Father, and most importantly, we would not have forgiveness of sins without the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. There's a lot of great verses about this. There's John 1:12, John 10:28, John 14:2, and 1 John 1:9, which is about forgiveness of sins. Again, I'm at the Basso Church, which is located in the suburb of Bassendean in Perth, Western Australia. And probably by the time you're watching this video, the new chapel would have been built, and we have services at 10 a.m. on Sunday and also at 6 p.m. on Sunday. So you're all welcome to attend. So that's in the Basso Church in Bassendean in Perth, Western Australia. Just a quick joke before I tell you about my transmission system. There once was a Spanish fireman who had two sons. He called his first son Jose, and he called his second son Hose B. Sorry about that. The opposing torque dynamic clutch transmission, which is what I've called it. It's also, I've got a code name which is Smart S Trans, which is Smart-S-Trans. And for short, that's OTDCT. Now, it's the world's first driver programmable transmission. So with the aid of speed sensors on each of the components, which I'll show you in a moment, and a computer, the driver can actually program the transmission to behave in whatever way he likes. So you could make it so it behaves like a CVT, could be a 6-speed transmission, or you could manually set specific ratios by controlling the proportion of power to the two motors. So I'll just show you what the setup is at the moment. The transmission itself consists of 3 shafts. So this one here, that's what we call a coaxial shaft. So it's a shaft within a shaft. So that's called a coaxial shaft. So that's what that is there. And on this side, we've just got a single shaft. So in total, we've got one shaft down the middle. We've got one shaft, outer shaft here, and another one here. So for various applications, you can use any one of the three shafts to be an output shaft, and the other two become input shafts. So I won't go into that now, but for automotive purposes, you need to have this one as the output shaft, and these two are the input shafts. So I'll just go through the motors here. I've got a 24 volt 450 watt motor here, which is quite powerful. So I can run that on either 12 volt or 24 volt. So I've got two options there. I've also got a 250 watt 12 volt motor here, and I'll show you that in a moment. And this one here is only 30 watts. Now I had to use a very small wattage motor because I've only got a 8 amp speed controller. So that's the only motor that I can actually vary the speed on. And I'll just show you, I'll just get my notes back in a moment, and then I'll just show you what each shaft does. So with the automotive application, with this as the output, you still have three sort of gearboxes that you can utilize. So you can just use this one motor on its own. You can use this motor on its own. I think it actually rotates the other way, but and then you can use both motors together. So in each of those applications, it'll behave in a different way. So if you want to just go, I'll just show you this one first. We can. Okay. Now I haven't got any speed control over this, but I can do forward and reverse. So just stand back a bit. So I can either go that way or the other way. And I can go back again. So that's just that one motor running on its own. Now unfortunately I don't have any speed variation on this motor, but if you just wanted to travel slowly, I'll just send some power to this motor. So you're able to travel as slow as you like. I've just got a little bit of load on there with a little pump, water pump, but there's no water running through it. But you can get quite a lot of speed variation. So if you're in heavy traffic, you can just creep along. So there's actually 5 things that you want a gearbox to do. One is to be able to go very slowly, and if you're in heavy traffic, or you're just reversing slowly, or you're parking or something like that. So you have that option. The second one you want to be able to do, which I've just demonstrated. The second one is you want to be able to accelerate rapidly. So I'm now going to send 12 volt to this motor, which is half power, and I'll send 12 volt to that one. So now this is when you want it to accelerate rapidly, you need to have power going to both motors at the same time. So I just got to work out which one we've got. That one. So I'll just do it from a standing start. So that's both motors running there. So that gives you pretty rapid acceleration. Once you get up to cruising speed, I've now switched that motor off. So, and you can see you're still travelling along quite fast, but you don't have a lot of torque to pick down. So the next thing you want a gearbox to do is you want to be able to, when if you're doing 80 kilometres an hour and you want to pass someone, I'm now going to send 24 volts to that one, and you'll see the difference. So it's still travelling at much the same speed, but there's a lot more torque. So you'll be able to accelerate, once you pass the car or gone up a hill, I can turn that motor off again and you can still keep cruising on this motor. Now, the fifth thing you want to be able to do is select specific ratios. Now, I can't really demonstrate that because I don't have speed control over each of the motors. So, what we need to do is when you have sensors on each of these motors, say if you're bogged or something like that, you want a lot of torque, but you don't want your wheels to turn very fast. Because a lot of times, like with manual transmissions, if you try to get out of a bog, as soon as you let the clutch out, the wheels grip and they just start spinning. So you want them to turn relatively slowly. So what you can do is just send a small amount of power to one motor and maybe a little bit more. So you can change the proportion of the power to the motors, and that way it gives you the variation to get whatever you want the gearbox to do by varying the power to the two motors. Now I'll just quickly go through. This is a little bit tricky. I'll just go through the power flow of the transmission. So this little shaft down the middle here, it's only a 10mm shaft. That goes all the way down the middle to this little gear here. And then it goes, then it goes from the middle gear to this side gear here. Then it goes across to here. Then it goes to, I've got to think, goes to that one. And then it goes across here to here, goes down to here, and then it goes to this slightly larger gear in the middle here. Then it goes to the output shaft. So it's a long way around. So the power goes to the middle, in that little gear in the center, to here, goes across there, then it goes to here, to this gear, and then to the output shaft. So, and you've got to keep in mind that that's happening while this is spinning. And it could be spinning in either direction. Okay, now the second input, which is this one, that goes to that gear there, then it goes to that gear there, and then it goes to that gear there, and then it goes to the output shaft again. So it does follow a little bit of the same power flow of the other motor, but it still gets to the output shaft. So just in summary, I'll just disconnect this. So what happens if I put load on the output shaft and then I turn this, you will notice that the carrier is turning in the same direction as my input. Okay, but it's turning slightly faster. So that if the output is turning faster than the input, that's an overdrive ratio. So it's fairly hard for me to input that because it's an overdrive ratio. Now similarly, if I hold the output shaft and I turn this one, you will notice that this is now turning in the opposite direction to that. Okay, but it's turning slightly slower. This is turning faster than my output. Okay, so when you have one motor running, you can just get a little bit of output. Okay, but to get proper torque so that you can accelerate rapidly, you need to have both motors running at the same time. So that's pretty much it.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoyed that. I'll just have a look here.
You finished?
Almost, I think.
Oh, no,
I didn't show that
here.
today. Summary. Yep, I'll just call it a day. So today was the 20th of March in 2022, and thank you all for watching. This is the third video of my transmission, which I've called Opposing Torque Dynamic Clutch, patent number 2020201132. The title of this third video is called Infinitely Variable Transmission Gearbox for a Go-Kart. And that's because it's been specifically designed for a go-kart. So thanks for watching, and just before I close off, one more joke. Where do fish keep their money? Where do fish keep their money? In the riverbank.